this platform that much, but I just wanted to pop on and express some thanks to everybody that's been checking out the music recently. I've been posting on here a lot more, and this is the first time that I've made a platform where the music was at the forefront. And I didn't know that there was a community of people who embraced recovery music on YouTube Shorts. So I'm going to keep this brief and just say thank you so much to everybody who's listened with an open heart. There's a lot more music coming, and I just want to thank y'all. It's been really humbling seeing people from all around the world share about their recovery, share about their addiction, share about what they're going through. And it's a beautiful time to be alive, sober, working towards it. And if you've listened to my music, you know that a lot of it is about my experiences in recovery. So I don't know how lives work on this platform. This ain't my primary platform at all. But if anybody's seeing this after the fact, because I'm about to hop off in a minute and just go be with my kids, yo, what's up, Anthony? Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for being a part of my recovery. See, this is what I love. Every platform has a recovery place. People who are open. What is up, Leonard? This is one of my first times going live on YouTube, man. I normally do it on Facebook. I've done TikTok. I've done things like that, but YouTube is new to me. And I just want to kind of come on and express my gratitude for all the people who've been so open to the music recently. Most of my content's separate from my music that I post, and when I go live, it's just about recovery separate from music. But the way that people have really, in the same way when I make like recovery advocacy stuff, people blow me away, absolutely blow me away with their strength and their experience, what they've been going through, like in the comments section. Yeah, keep coming back. Thank you, Leonard. I appreciate it. Listen, I just love making music. I mean, music and recovery are kind of inseparable for me. Even when I make music that's not about my recovery, it's a big part of it because, it's all kind of interconnected for me. And I am shameless about the fact that I'm a recovery rapper. Like, some people think that's an insult. I'm definitely a recovery rapper even when my music isn't, and I wear it proudly. I got a song about it, but it's been really humbling seeing people who are sober, people who have been through having addicted family members resonate and vibe with the record. Man, the live cut off. I have no idea how to work this. I'm so sorry, guys. The live cut off. And just as I was beginning to understand that YouTube is a place where people are open to recovery. So I'm sorry if it cut off for anybody. One and only what happened is it cut off because I ran out of battery. And I'm so sorry, Janice. Yeah, there's a lot of fake pages on my primary platform. There's a lot of fake pages. So on Facebook claiming to be me, I try to report them, and it's like playing whack-a-mole. On YouTube, I don't think there's going to be any fake me's. So safe over here. But yeah, sorry about the crash. I'm still figuring out this whole YouTube thing. I'm not really good at it. I'm not going to lie. Every platform is different, and I'm just kind of learning about what it means to be someone making music in this digital age. But the cool thing about community, oh, what's up, man? And thank you, man. I appreciate it. But yeah, so what I'm going to do as the platform continues to grow is I'm going to do these lives when time allows and talk about music a little bit, talk about the stories behind the songs if people want, and just kind of more importantly than that, because I try to do this on all my other platforms, have a space where people in recovery who don't necessarily have a space, even if you have like a recovery community, what I try to have my communities be across my platforms is a place that if you're on any path of recovery, you're welcome. Doesn't have to be like old school AA, like you don't even have to be completely sober. You can be Cali sober, you could be on medication assisted treatment, whatever recovery looks like for you. Like, I want to welcome people through this platform. And that's kind of a tenet, and it's a question I get asked a lot, you know what I mean? It's like, what are your thoughts on all other paths of recovery? You know what I mean? And so my music is the same philosophy. If you are working towards bettering your life, I love you and I respect you. If you are working towards being a better version of yourself, then whether you're 100% chemically abstinent, sober or not, doesn't really matter to me. Recovery comes in all forms, music comes in all forms, and thank you, man. I really appreciate it. And I'm excited too, Janice. I would love to, and congratulations to him on getting out. Whether you're in treatment, whether you're incarcerated, it's not easy making that transition. And I try to speak on those realities because although I never did time, I've been to rehab a lot, and it's not exactly the same. I've been arrested, but I've never done time. And just coming out of any institution, although prison jail is certainly different, completely different world. I'm not going to fake like it's not a whole other level of re-entry stuff and stigma and all that. But the music that I make is grounded in my experience. And it's been really, really humbling to see people open to it. And as I continue to post daily on here, the only difference between here and other places is that this is going to be exclusively a music channel. And if people want to see my non-music recovery content, just general stories and like the communities I've built, you're welcome to on my other platforms. I encourage anybody who doesn't have a recovery support network, you can come through. Shameless plug, but I just, it's bigger than the music for me. It's about recovery in every sense in addition to the music. So I did want to put that out there to anybody who's liked the music, not just for the music, but for the sobriety angle. I do have platforms on other places where I don't just do music, I do talk content as well. But the music's going to continue. I got a lot of new songs coming. I've got a lot of songs of different styles, not just boom bap hip hop. I've got some trap stuff coming. I've got some like melodic singer-songwriter stuff coming. Old school hip hop is always going to be my first love and my primary music medium. So the old school hip hop songs are going to continue after I put out like a faith-based trap song and a melodic song. I'm putting out 2 more boom bap songs. So if people say they like that, that's not going away. Don't worry. I don't know Stray Kids. I'll have to check them out. Are they like a rock group, a metal group, an alt group, or a hip hop group? I'm not familiar with them. I'm out the loop. How long have I been doing music for? I've been writing poetry and doing music, like playing piano, since I was 9. I've been making hip hop music since I was 16, and I'm 34 now. So I've been making hip hop music for 18 years. I've been making recovery-based hip hop music for 9.5 years since I've gotten sober. And I've been doing it, it's wild to say that now it is in a professional capacity because of my platform and like the gigs that I do. And even though I don't do that many gigs, the music in my platform is tied into the work that I do at a studio. So it is in a professional capacity now, which is beyond humbling to say. Michael, congrats on your recovery. You're not alone. We're not alone. And thank you so much for being open to it. That really makes my night. Honestly, whenever I hear somebody in recovery resonates with my music, it means the whole world to me. So I'm not saying that as like a corny, contrived thing. I'm saying that, although it might come off that way, I'm not going to tell you that that wasn't corny. It wasn't meant to be anyway. But like when I was in early recovery, Kalichi hadn't even dropped yet, like the biggest recovery artist. Although he makes non-recovery stuff too, but he's a big recovery artist too. And I didn't have music that made me feel seen. So that's the reason why I do this. I'd love to do a podcast. My team's not open to it. They think I'm going to say some wild stuff. I have a management contract with a studio, and we've talked to him about it. I told him that like I wanted to do some like beyond just recovery, like cultural stuff, and he's like, no way. So we'll see. I might do, because there's so many great recovery podcasts. I wouldn't just want to do a recovery or like music podcast. I'd want to do something where I can just say wild stuff. And I don't know. I don't want to distract it from the message too much, because I'd say some wild things and people would be like, man, this guy's on one. I don't know though. Maybe if it gets to that point. Made one dealing with anger. Oh, God bless you. And I wanted to get this out the way because people ask me. I am a Christian, but I don't consider myself a Christian rapper. I do occasionally talk about my faith in Christ because I am a believer in Christ and God and Yahweh. But if you're an atheist, if you're an agnostic, you're welcome here. I'm never going to preach. I'm never going to proselytize. I am a believer in God and Jesus Christ, but I also respect people who are agnostic, people who are atheists. I'm not I respect all paths of recovery and faith, so it's all love to everybody. But someone asked me that, and I am a man of God, but I think that God comes in the form of loving your fellow person and accepting them as they are, whether in recovery or otherwise. Yes. Who's my team? That can mean a lot of things. I'm not sure. That there's a lot of kind of like wild things associated with the word team. So I'm not quite sure how to field that. I'm open to all questions. Consider this and ask me anything, but I don't know what that means. You got me all kinds of confused. Have I made a song dealing with anger? I made reels about dealing with anger. I've gotten angry in some reels, passionate about stuff. That's a great subject, though. I would love to make a song about anger. Where else do I go live primarily? Thank you for asking, introverted extrovert. I go live primarily on my primary platform, which is Facebook. I'm starting to go live on here because I see the page continuing to grow with the music, and I want to let people know. Oh, my team. My team is my manager. I thought you were like, oh, what kind of political team or like some. My manager, because I was talking about culture and politics for a second. My manager over here at the studio, I have a long-term contract with him. He's the guy that gave me my first opportunity to do music for an arts residency. I'm signed to the studio. They put out my first album. I got free studio time there. And as a result, they managed my career. We split the profits. It's a very fair deal. I'm very grateful for it. But I have to, because they give me free studio time and because they promote my stuff and essentially let me work as an artist in a way that works with my kids and my recovery and everything else. They help me with stuff, and I have to be respectful of what they want to do with it. So that's what it is. It's not that they won't let me, it's that they want to do it at the right time and they want to make sure it's in line with the work that we've done. I don't use Discord. My friends who I work at the studio with do. I've never done Twitch. I've seen Discord servers before I met the love of my life and we settled down and had kids. Before the pandemic, I was with some girls that did Discord and posting. I know about it. I've seen it, but I'm personally not on it. But it's really cool. Maybe I should do recovery Discord. I didn't know there was a recovery community on Discord. People have told me a little bits of that, but my main platforms are Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And I'm trying to get more active on here. I have a lot of creators who I've seen do not really recovery content, but other stuff on here. And as I said at the beginning of this, this is going to be my one platform that is only music. And so if people want to see my recovery content, when I first started posting shorts years ago, and then I took a break to focus on my other platforms, I did more recovery content. But I actually got shadow banned a couple times because if you talk about things in that real of a way, at least then the platform didn't like it. So I stopped doing that, and then I came back music only, and that's how it's going to stay. It's a great? Okay, I'm open to it. I mean, I'm always open to find new communities. I'm always open for positive communities because the online recovery community, separate from social media or any content platforms, saved me during the pandemic. So shout out to everyone using the internet to share messages of recovery in cool ways. Oh, wow. Well, Adam's lucky to have you. The mental health recovery intersection is really hard, and especially for families. For as someone who's dual diagnosis myself, it definitely is. No. Let's be real. I won't deny, I do get paid to toe the line, but maybe I'll tell a little story about how this whole platform got started, since we got some love in here. We got a little bit, nothing too crazy, but a couple dozen people have gone in and out. And so I'll speak on it. When I first started making rap music in recovery that was piano based, I was working as a server, and I can't wait to be there in Maine. Little White fans, shout out to you, shout out Lil White, shout out Jelly, shout out all of the artists from that whole clique, man. Shout out all of them. I was a big Lil White fan back in the day, still am. And Cali's sober now. Shout out to him and his recovery. All paths of recovery for the win. But, the team that I work with, before I started any platform, they heard my music, playing piano and rapping at the same time. I can't wait to see you there. Anybody in Maine, I'm playing a show with Kalichi and KC Makes Music, Real Young Swag. A lot of artists I deeply respect and look up to. Skylar Ray, a lot of recovery artists and otherwise. Jordan Meyer, too. Like Jordan Meyer and High Res, Music Beyond Recovery. He's gonna be there too. Not High Res, but Jordan Meyer will. And that's going to be this Saturday in Biddeford, Maine. So if you're in Maine, if you're in New Hampshire, pop out. I'm going to be there. But they believed in me. They gave me an arts residency. They gave me full access to a studio with a Grammy-winning engineer that still works there, and my producer, basically, who had a background in medicine as well as the arts, basically put a lot of money and time into going with me to like the National Academy of Medicine, meeting Congress people, blah, 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 through his connections as a doctor and producer. And then we've continued working ever since. And I built the platform from there. So it is getting paid to toe the line, but the campaign that we've built is it's kind of multifaceted beyond just music and recovery. It's advocacy on a statewide level. It's a lot of things. And so I always try to be respectful of them, because when nobody believed in me, when not many people were making recovery content or music or anything like that, I came in and said, I want to do a piano-based, like classical piano, live piano-based album about recovery. And they're like, let's go. Yeah, well, it's interesting. It's intimidating. And listen, like, I grew up in D.C., so I totally understand being hesitant to speak to Congress people on either side. I don't trust either side of the political aisle inherently. I think everybody's kind of corrupt, to be honest, but that's the story for another day. But I respect people who are willing to meet with people with lived experience and recovering addicts who are in those positions of power. If you're willing to meet with me, I'm willing to talk to you regardless of what team of the political aisle you play for, because for me, recovery advocacy means speaking truth to power. And regardless of who's in power, if you're willing to sit down with me, even if I disagree with you on key things, like, I want to speak on behalf of the dozens of friends I lost to Fetty, and and the people who are still out there. And I would love to do more Vermont shows. The last show I did in the region, other than the yearly shows I do in Maine for Black Balloon Day, which are coming up this Saturday for this year in Biddeford, I did one in the Berkshires, which was really fun. And thank you so much, Arito Dorf. You're awesome. Thank you so much, Lil White. Will I have merch? Should I? I'll bring some. I'm not going to have a table. Thank you so much for asking. Man, this is making my night. I do have merch on my site, but I'll bring some. I'll bring a couple t-shirts in every size, Thank you that's humbling, man. It really is. And thank you, Ginger Cat. I mean, listen, I do have incredible loyalty to them because they had loyalty to me. Oh, you got 4XL? I think XL is the biggest it gets, but let me see what I got. And regardless of that, we got hats and we got stickers. So regardless of your size or whether we got it or not, we got some stuff. I'll bring some stuff. And that's super humbling. I will make a 4X. I will make a 4X if you want one. I will make it. Who have I lost to Fetty? I mean, if you want me to say government names, that's kind of wild, but a total of like 6 to 10 people I partied in high school with, a total of like 3 to 5 people that I used like certain things with that I don't want to get banned on a live stream for, and about 10 or 15 people I went to treatment with and knew from my recovery circle have died, have been unalived. I don't even know the rules for YouTube. But yeah, lots of people. One of them I went to treatment with and then became better friends with after, drove up to Pennsylvania with to make music, would always talk on the phone with all the time. He was a really good friend of mine. And I was the last person who talked to him before he passed. And I'm so sorry for your losses, Julian. I mean, it's really sad. I mean, it's crazy because it almost doesn't feel real to me. I don't know if anybody can relate to that. Like, it kind of feels like it's an op. Like, it feels like it hasn't actually happened, even though it has. And when I think about it, it makes me kind of just want to like shake and get under my bed and cry and distance myself from the world, because it's just so ridiculous that it happened. I'm so sorry for your loss, Anthony, and God bless you, and rest in peace to your friends, and shout out to the ones doing biz and in the struggle. I will make a 4XL. Hey, DM me on like my primaries, like Facebook or Instagram, and remind me, and I'll do it. Or DM me here, put it in the comments, and remind me, I'll make you one. New streamer. I'm new to YouTube streaming too, bro. I post music on here. My primary platforms are TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, but I love it on here. It's cool. This is my first time really doing a live here, and it's good vibes. I'm so sorry for your loss, Mason. Listen, and I want to say this too, because this is a new platform for me on here. I haven't done a live, like, talking to people. Yeah, message me on the gram. I'll make a bookmark, and I'll make a print run for that specifically. And we'll make it happen for you. But I'm so sorry for your loss. RIP to your brother. But I want to make this clear. If you're in active addiction, I have nothing but love and respect for you. I'm 9.5 years sober, but I like to think all I have is today. And everyone in active use is welcome here. The last thing I will ever do is shame anybody. You should not feel bad about yourself. I know someone saying that is, I don't mean to seem condescending or patronizing. Like I know the guilt that comes from it. What I'm saying is, like, I like to tell everybody who is in the struggle, you're not a bad person because you're using, you're a good person who deserves a better life. And that better life doesn't always mean immediately stopping. Like, obviously, like, I advocate for that for people who are ready, but I'm also, although I don't consider myself a harm reductionist because I work in recovery and like that's my thing, I am a proponent of harm reduction. I like OD prevention, like all that stuff, and I'm down with it. So exactly, just another person trying to get well. Yup, that's big facts. I'm so sorry, Orito, that you lost your ex. See, this is what I'm talking about. I mean, if you go, and this is why I'm grateful to be, a rapper in recovery. I'll call myself a recovery rapper all day. I'm not ashamed. But I'm proud because there are so many people who have lost people across the country, loved ones, people who have used themselves, that it demands talking about. And Chris, I just saw the message pop up on my screen. I'm finna respond to you when I get done. What made me first start? That's a great question. Thank you for asking, Julian. I like to think that I was a person with a problem that way before I ever had my first use or drink. And what I mean by that is that I was always searching for an external solution to an internal problem to like medicate my anxiety and like things like that. And I was diagnosed with autism several times, once when I was 3, once when I was like 9 or 10, and once when I was 26 in recovery, just because I wanted to make sure. And that sensory overload thing was crazy. And I had good parents, everybody goes through some trauma. My parents got divorced. My mom had a boyfriend who was not kind. I don't know what words you can and can't say on YouTube, but he was definitely not kind. And he was an alcoholic himself. And my mom's an alcoholic in recovery, but the reason I use doesn't have anything to do with that. It's because I was always looking for an external solution to make it so that the voices in my head would stop talking and that I would not feel an inherent sense of discomfort and pain on a spiritual, emotional, and physical and neurological level. So I say all that to say that the reason that I started was because I never felt comfortable. Congrats on 5 years, Little White Fan. And thank you so much, Mason, for asking. I do have a full album, like, disc. It's called Clean. It's the classical piano-based one. It's not like a lot of the shorts I put out because it's the whole story of my addiction and recovery, though. So it's the album that started everything I'm doing. The newer stuff, and first of all, thank you so much for jamming to the shorts. The newer stuff, most of the stuff I post are my singles and my EPs, which are on all streaming platforms and also on YouTube in the full versions. But if you do want to support my albums on Bandcamp, it's on my website, and proceeds from it go to future projects at the studio. It's the way the studio can recoup their stuff and continue working with me, not just as a writer, because I also work for magazines they own, and I do other stuff. I do marketing stuff for them too on their side, but it all goes to making more music about recovery. I appreciate you too, Little White Fan, and man, I'm so sorry. I mean, like, that you've lost, people to it and seeing your friends and family go through it. Yeah. Yeah, living in a trap house stuff gets real, you know? It gets very real. And regardless of whether you're in it as a user or someone who's caught on it or someone who's just like caught in the life watching other people go through it, I don't really make a distinction. I mean, of course, obviously, it's different if you're using it than if you're not. Like, that's obvious. I shouldn't have to say that. But it's more like whether it's vicarious exposure, like 1 degree of separation because it's someone you love who's doing it or you who's doing it, it's just pain and it's just like chaos. The one with no name. Well, thank you so much. That's humbling. I'm so grateful that it resonates. You know, I was 24 when I got sober, and it was a similar arc to me, not quite as long, 14 to 24. And all I want to say is so much love. And you know, whether we're in active or we're in recovery, I think that there is so much strength and so much solidarity to be gained through speaking openly on it. So God bless you, and thank you so much for sharing so openly. And, you know, all I like to tell people is like, oh, how much time you have? I got 9 years, sure, but I have one day and I have today. And if I start getting slick, thinking I have more than today, thinking I'm better than anybody in active addiction, thinking I'm better than my former self in active addiction, it's not going to work. So God bless you. So much love. And thank you, Anthony. And you know, on that note, I'm going to say a couple more things and I'm going to hang it up because this has been a much more incredible experience than I thought it would be. I just kind of wanted to go live to put something up and thank people. But, you know, the YouTube community is really cool, man. This isn't my primary platform. What made no sense? Well, you know, I've been accused of being semi-robotic because, you know, as someone with autism spectrum disorder, I don't mean to like just shout it out to a diagnosis, but I tend to be pretty long-winded and like caught in my head in cycles and series of thought. But I will say something about the whole AI music and like AI response thing, though. If we've gotten to the point where someone using oratory skills or using large words or like complex, convoluted thoughts is seen as a bad thing and an uncreative thing, then I think that's a problem. One of my favorite, and I think that like the wildest thing is when people are like, oh, AI rhymes, AI bars. And I'm like, okay. And I say this with love. I just think it's interesting that we've gotten to the whole thing now where like, if someone doesn't say something different, then they're boring. But if someone actually puts passion or complexity into something they're saying, they're a try-hard or they're AI. So with love, I'm sure it did sound convoluted and AI-ish, but as someone who definitely doesn't make a lot of sense even within my own head, I'm just trying to do my best, man. This is new to me. Y'all got me all kinds of twisted, bro, thinking I know what I'm doing. Bro, I had to get up at like 7 a.m. this morning to watch my kids and then try to put two paychecks on the table with 2 jobs. I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow morning. I have stuff on the schedule, bro. I'm a tired millennial dad. You gotta cut me a break, bro. With love. But God bless. Oh, I'm so sorry you've been back in it. That sounds real as hell in a really painful way, man. We're with you. We love you. And I hear you on be more specific. I tried to be more specific. I don't know how much more specific I can get than autism spectrum diagnosis, occasionally traumatic alcoholic mom, seeking out comfort through substances and external validation, leading into cyclical patterns of escalating substance use. No. It's all good. It's all good for you, bro, too, bro. It's a conversation. Like, you have every right to say that. You have every right to say to somebody on the internet who's putting himself out there, it's this, it's that. Just like I'm here talking on the live, you can talk in the comments. I'm never going to take somebody's agency away from them and freedom away to talk, but I'm going to speak my piece too. I'm going to speak my little cringe millennial dad thing too, which is I'm still breaking down and trying to understand my own addiction and recovery nearly, 10 years in. And And it might be cliche or AI or whatever you want to ascribe to it, but for me, the irony is kind of the whole problem is I always felt like I myself was a kind of shoddy AI algorithms. You know what I mean? I don't know. I I think that anybody who claims to have a perfectly nuanced and totally lucid understanding of their own addiction, recovery, and mental health issues to like a textbook standpoint is actually doing themselves a disservice, because the lack of fluidity and understanding and progressive exploration of recovery and addiction and things that come from that can come to a stop when you're like, okay, I completely understand it. So I'm trying to always elevate my understanding of addiction and recovery within myself and others. And if it seems convoluted, AI-ish, whatever, that's cool. All types of different folks, man. What's going on? Maybe someone can tell me. I am having a good time talking about, different takes on recovery and music that I never expected in my first YouTube live, man. I really think the depth, and I love questions like that. I love when people confront me with some sauce and they're like, yo, this is coming off this way. It's interesting, man. Exactly. Yeah, teachable and willing, things and people change. And my favorite part about it is that there's no perfect way. And that's one of the main reasons why I support all paths to recovery, is because what's true for me is not going to be true for somebody else. What's true for somebody like you has like an incredibly traumatic past with different mental health issues, who's on a path of MAT or Cali sober recovery, who's not like in chemically abstinent recovery like me, who didn't have the upbringing and didn't have the mental health considerations I have. It's very, very, very completely different, even at the base, for everybody else. So when people say that what I'm saying is not resonating with them, or that it seems cliche from a recovery standpoint, or that they've heard it before, or it's not specific enough, what I say to that is absolutely, like, church, big facts, man. Like, I'm sure that's the case. Exactly. We got to keep learning. We got to progressing. Exactly. Right. It wouldn't be as hard to like get and stay clean, sober, whatever you want to call it, if we all knew. And one of the reasons I've been able, I think, to stay in recovery for this long is no relapses this time. And thank you. 9 years. I like to think I have today. If you don't count caffeine, nicotine, and sugar, which are drugs, those are drugs. So those are my form of harm reduction. Caffeine, sugar, nicotine, those are things that change your brain chemistry. A lot of things do. And like turmeric, ginger, things like that. Nah, I haven't drank, smoked, used anything like that in 9 years, but I had many sober days before that. I went to treatment for the first time in December of 2012, and I didn't get sober till June 13th, 2016. So I've had many returns to use before that, and the only difference this time around is that I really, as cliche, I'm sure this sounds cliche too, I literally had to live in every day. I had to approach and I still do this. People are like, how are you 9.5 years sober, 2 kids, day job, like still making content about recovery? Because I have to keep it fresh every day. I have to act like it is still an omnipresent thing. And some people move past it, like they put it in the past, and that works for them. And that's super cool. I do. The origins of my last name are my grandfather, Max Lerner, emigrated from Minsk in Belarus, which is an Eastern European country, I think bordering Poland and Russia. And the Ellis Island name he was given was Lerner. That's where it comes from. Right. Listen, and my whole thing about, and I'm going to say this too, the rooms are a great tool for a lot of people, and they're a horrible tool for other people. If AA and NA works for you, that's amazing. If it doesn't, that's great too. If smart recovery or moderation, harm reduction, Cali sober, MAT works for you, or you're chemically abstinent but you're not in the rooms, like that's great. And this might be so inside baseball for like non-recovery people, but I'm a recovery dude, so I'm going to talk recovery talk. Personal thoughts on it, I completely support it if it helps people. I consider it recovery. I consider MAT, subs, don't like all that, 100%, 100% support it. You know what I mean? That's amazing that you work in harm reduction. And you had to leave the meetings. Listen, that's cool. I don't ever get fellowship specific, and that should tell you enough. You know, like, I don't think it's relevant to my content or anything like that. What I will say is I think there's some great stuff in the rooms, but I understand why it doesn't work for some people. And anybody who's in the rooms who's like, you have to do, I think that's wild. I think it's wild to project and like try to get other people to be on the same path to recovery as you. To me, that's like, you know, all love to people who do mission work and all that, but I think it's a little preachy. I think it, and I'm gonna be preachy as a recovery content creator. I understand the contradiction there. I'm personally not on subs, no. I did a 3-day taper in treatment and I ripped off the Band-Aid because I was in inpatient treatment. And I had the luxury to do that. I had a privilege not everybody has, which is why even though I believe in all paths of recovery, I happily work with treatment centers to this day. I believe in traditional treatment and medication treatment and harm reduction and all that, although I'm an abstinence guy personally, but I support all paths because, you know, it's a luxury to detox the way that I did. It really is. My family helped me get into treatment. Not everybody has that, even if they have state resources or insurance or anything like that. Like, it's not the same thing. They don't go to a sober house like I did, but I haven't been on any prescription medications other than like antibiotics or like whatever for the past 10 years, but all love to people on it. You know what I mean? Congratulations. Yeah, I mean, if the rooms don't work for you, they don't, and nobody should force you to do it. I was on MAT for years before my current sober date. I was in and out of outpatient treatment, and I like to tell people, MAT didn't fail me, I failed MAT. It didn't work for me because I was still using while I was on it, even though it didn't do anything. I was still using while I was on it. Because it wasn't just a chemical dependency thing. It was like a mental, personally for me, mental, emotional, and spiritual thing. Everybody's different. I know a lot of people who were in the exact same outpatient rehab classes I was in, and they had a great time. I'm not saying they had a great time, but they were successful in their tapers and their long-term. Some were on it for years, some months, depending on like whatever. And it worked for them, and it didn't work for me. Not because the treatment didn't work, but because I'm such an all or nothing cat that I had to go to like traditional inpatient Minnesota model thing and like do it that way. But I love and support people, you know. Hey, neighborhood hope dealer, congrats on 26 months. I'm so grateful it resonates. So much love. And thank you. Well, I'm so grateful I was an inspiration anyways. Hearing that is an inspiration to me too. Yeah, you gotta want recovery, whatever path it is. No, for sure. Listen, as a man of God, as a believer in Christ, and as a person who loves the rooms, I also love the fact that they don't have to work for everybody. Like, I wouldn't be secure in my path to recovery if I was trying to push it on people. Same thing with my faith in God. Like, I've got what works for me, but if I'm going out there saying, if you don't recover this way, then what at the end of the day, regardless of my intention, that I think that really means I'm insecure. With love to all the people who do that, because like people have different philosophies. Like, I'm not ever going to go to somebody and say you have to recover this way, you have to believe this. If you're atheist, if you're agnostic, if you're on MAT, if you're Cali sober, if you're abstinent but not in the rooms, like, great. My whole thing is, I hope you're alive. I hope you're working towards better, whether you're in active or you're in recovery. I hope you're finding fulfillment. I hope whether you believe in God or not, whether you want to call it spiritual connection or just human connection, I think that regardless of your spiritual religious belief, there's a divine spark of human connection, which is found in recovery. And if that's what that is to you, separate from any doctrine or any theological or spiritual thing, I just hope people are connecting with other human beings, loving life, and just bettering themselves. And there's no exact path for that. And that's kind of why I make the music that I do. It's grounded in some old school principles of recovery, sure, but I think the whole thing is, if you want to tell the story of what worked for you, I don't think it can be tied to any specific doctrine other than our own experience. That is the one thing I am 10 toes down on, is, right? I think lived experience is cool. I don't think my lived experience is better than anybody else. By lived experience, I mean me talking about what I went through. Some people are against lived experience being used at all. I'm against lived experience being used to disqualify other people's experience. Like, if I let me say, oh, that worked for me, so it must not work for you the other way, that's whack to me. But I do think people, whether it's my path, old school abstinent, medication assisted treatment, whatever, sharing their experience, I think it's good. I think more people who are on alternate paths should share their experience. And that's really what, and yeah, the non-faith-based stuff is new. I mean, the evidence speaks for itself, and that's another thing I'll say, is if you look at the evidence for what MAT and like harm reduction stuff does, it clearly is life-saving. And so what worked for me saved my life, but if quoting scripture is cool too. I mean, I've got my King James by my bedside, but I think that there's a lot of stuff that applies to like talking about God that also applies to letting other people not. You see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I can be grounded in my faith, and my faith compels me to be okay with people not having faith. So what I would say is, there's space for both, and people disagree with me on this, but I'm okay with that. I think there's space for both old school people, men of faith, and atheists who are on other paths of recovery. I think people like that can coexist, and the nexus at which that is okay, like the old school, like Christian AA dudes or just people of faith in recovery, and the atheists who are like harm reductionists or non-AA people is mutual respect. Because like, I've got my family, I'm a 34-year-old millennial, like Christian rap dad. I'm not a Christian rapper, I'm a recovery rapper, but I am a man of faith. But that same faith compels me to never judge someone who is of a different path of faith or a different path of recovery. You know what I mean? And for me, it's like, before I had any semblance of what my spiritual path was in recovery, I found recovery first. Oh, well, I've loved that. Like, don't categorize myself. I'm just going off of the fact we live in an algorithmic reality. That's a very beautiful thing, and thank you for the reminder. Yeah, there's always hope. There is always hope. Well, thank you. And listen, nobody has to go to the rooms if you don't want to go. There's a lot of different paths of recovery. There's cool peer-based stuff, Nobody has to believe anything. All I say is you got to believe in yourself and something bigger than the bag. Big love, neighborhood. Yeah, we on the same page. Neighborhood Hope Dealer, so much love, bro. What is up, Glangstar? Thank you for being here. But yeah, it's been a cool conversation tonight, man. I really appreciate everybody coming through. This is who I am. This is the story behind the music I make. I'm a 34-year-old cringy millennial dad who makes recovery content and music that, although it's not all about recovery, is largely about recovery. And my other platforms are spaces for people, not just people in recovery, but it's largely based around that. And so I just want to say that, like, if you like the music and you're in recovery and you want a place, doesn't even necessarily have to be my platform. I highly recommend you check out recovery content creators on other platforms too, because there's a lot there. There's a lot there. And thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate you say the bar's getting sharp, man. I love hip hop. I love music of all kinds. I do melodic stuff too. And there's going to be more coming. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I mean, there's different statistics about that. I've heard 98% for AA relapses. I've heard 90. I've heard 80. For me, my whole thing is, regardless of the specific rate, I would say the rate of retention, the rate of non-recidivism is higher for people who work until they find the path of recovery that works for them. You see what I'm saying? Like, if the rooms or abstinence doesn't work for somebody, right. And I mean, I've seen Sexton Space and all those people say things about, debunking AA, and you can debunk it all day and you can be right about a lot of the stuff you say there. I think anybody who adheres to a doctrine, whether it works for them or not, so litigiously and so blindly that they ignore the facts that no, it doesn't work for everybody who works it rigorously. Yeah, like for sure, it doesn't work for everybody who tries it. I think that's hyperbolic language that was used in 1935 and probably doesn't apply now. Yeah, and there's a lot of flaws in the program. My whole thing about it is, if it works for you, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. And all those flaws or inconsistencies are only more reason for people on other paths of recovery to be welcome. I'm not a person who's a 12-step abolitionist at all. I don't think that's necessary. I think that there's enough support in harm reduction and MAT and like alternative recovery communities and new treatment models that you don't have to get rid of it. A lot of it's dated, a lot of it's dogmatic, a lot of it's cult-like, but it helps a lot of people. And the people it doesn't help, my whole thing is, I can't stand when people in the rooms are like, oh, they ain't sober, like blah, 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 blah. It's certainly outdated. And a lot of the scientific stuff that was done in the 80s, like the therapies that were done, are outdated too. I mean, you have to be willing to learn and adapt in all of these things. My whole thing is, if an outdated dogma or an outdated philosophy works for someone, then that philosophy isn't outdated for them. But the reason, again, why I support all paths to recovery and why I'm so open to doing that in my music is because it is a miracle every single time. Right, exactly. Whatever heals the soul. Exactly, Gleinstar. And for me, music's a big part of that, because separate from the recovery thing that I practice, separate, which is multifaceted. It's not just grounded in traditional like recovery, whatever. When I go to the studio and I write, when I put out a song, when I put a little piece of that out there, it's cleansing for me. It's incredibly therapeutic for me. And music and content has been a huge part of my recovery, because it allows me to like kind of come to terms with and digest things that just solely talking to people or introspection can't do. Right. And listen, if you're not faith-based, that's cool. I mean, I think that regardless of whether you want to see faith in a religious or theological context, separate from any spiritual dimension of it, if you have faith in yourself and fellow people and a community, that's what matters to me. And that's why I like to make music and content that's inclusive, because when I didn't believe in whatever I believe in now, I believed that if I called somebody and asked for help, that they would pick up. The same way in active, I thought if I called my plug, they would pick up. If I called my using buddies, they'd pick up. You feel me? So like in recovery, it's not so much, oh, you got to have the same faith, spirituality as me, you got to go to the same thing. It's like, what can we learn for each other? You know what I mean? And there's people who have completely different paths of recovery than me, who I have learned so much from. There's this Cali Sober dude that runs the biggest all paths recovery, like Cali Sober group, like online. And he's such a good guy. And he was one of my main inspirations to start going, honestly. And people say that's wild because I'm not Cali Sober. They're like, how can you be inspired? And I'm like, because he's inspiring. Doesn't matter that like he uses plant medicine and I don't. Like, he's inspiring to me. He's like a really great guy who's helped thousands of people. And even though I'm not Cali Sober, like, I will look at the stuff he does and the way he does mental health and like spiritual practice and all this stuff through that. And even though I'm not doing the plant medicine element of it, I'm like, wow, this is so transformational. Yes, absolutely. It stems from pain. Yup. That's what I was saying. The external solution for the internal problem. It could be a chemical, it could be validation, any repetitive behavior. And Wow, man, you guys made my night. Love you too, Christopher. Thank you for being here. You guys really made my night with this. Every time I said I'm gonna stop, like there comes a new cool conversation. And what's up, Christopher? Thanks for being here, man. But yeah, I'm gonna keep posting the music. I'm gonna keep doing that every day. This is gonna be a music only platform. But if you want to check out other stuff I got going on content wise, that's the other platforms that I mentioned earlier. And I just love y'all, man. I love that there is openness to people speaking honestly about recovery and mental health issues through music, from lovers of music, from lovers of recovery. I hope I'm saying this right. Emer Flores1167, thank you so much. God bless, man. So much love. Thank you so much for being open to it. You guys are the best. And more coming. I got a lot of new stuff coming, new songs. I got like 20 songs written, like 10 recorded. A lot of stuff that like every time I'm like, what? So there's going to be melodic stuff, rap stuff. There's going to be a lot of non-faith-based stuff, a faith-based track or two, but it's not the only thing I'm doing. I know some people are like anti-faith music. It's just that's a tiny bit. I've worked with some artists in that direction, but my personal stuff is mostly recovery-based, mostly mental health-based, so there's going to be a lot of different stuff. Christ be with you too, man. God bless. God bless you. God bless everybody on a path of faith or lack thereof. It's all love here, regardless you atheist or agnostic, Cali sober, regular sober, you're welcome here, man. You're welcome. What it do, Jay? Where's Silent Bob? Snoochie Boochies, bro. Snooch to the booch. Hey, Silent Bob's behind the table, but you got to guess a number correctly between 1 and 1,000 for him to pop out. Unless you telepathically guess the number from 1 to 1,000 in your mind and like beam it to me, he's not going to pop out. So good luck. I won't even know. So Silent Bob is not going to pop out to be Silent Bob for my Jay until you guess the number, bro. You got to think it really hard. I live in North Carolina. I used to. I was out in the Tenderloin for 4 years, living in a one-bedroom apartment from like 2012 to 2016, going back and forth between there and the East Coast. I live in Vermont now with my family. Big love, Rick Hockney. Thank you, one with no name. You're awesome. Yeah, I'm trying to have open conversations. I mean, listen, I'm going to say something. I'm going to say some wild stuff on this live or anything else. I'm going to say some stuff that contradicts myself. I'm going to say some stuff that is cancelable stuff. I'm going to say some stuff cancelable for people on both political or cultural extremes because I don't live in a binary. I'm going to say some stuff that is just off the cuff and unrehearsed and stupid. I'm going to say some stuff that is cringeworthy, but I'm going to say the truth. That's all I can promise you. My truth might conflict with people's, but it will always be, to the best of my ability, said with respect, said with love, transparency, and the understanding that in this human experience, we are all equal and deserving of happiness and freedom. And to me, that freedom is recovery. You know what I mean? So, like, that's what it is. Oh, you serve Turk Street? Yeah. I mean, listen, my truth is as follows. I'm sober and it saved my life, and I've dedicated my life to reminding myself through my music and my content every day, in addition to my day job and my most important job, which is the father of my 2 sons with a third on the way, that there is no perfect path to recovery other than the path forward that we find. Music is an incredible salvation or creativity of any kind. And if nobody's told you today, if you are in recovery on your path or even inactive and you're doing what you love and you're bettering your life, then I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Okay? I don't think enough, and I'm not trying to say that condescendingly, patronizingly. I don't think that gets said enough to people in early recovery who are still putting their life together. Oh, I'm so glad you like Greatest Gift, man. That song means a lot to me. Yeah, I became a dad 6 days before my 6th sobriety anniversary. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Little baby Wilson. Yeah, Jude, Max, and Wilson, that's 3. She's probably going to try. Well, we're probably going to try for, like, more down the line, but we're looking into getting a house. Yeah, you know, pre-rehearsal is a lot of work, and it's honestly a headache. You know, a lot of people write speeches. When I go speak, I don't write speeches. And it's not because I'm such an great improv speaker, whatever. It's because it's just not what I want to do. Yeah. I think recovery is a lifelong process, but not because it's a life sentence, because even when I get sober and I don't want to say master, but get to a much better place with that, where it isn't exactly the same as the beginning. You know, I try to keep it green in a lot of ways. For me, recovery is a lifelong process beyond the substance, because it's like, regardless of whether I have the same, they say your brain rewires in 7 years or something like that. I'm sure there's a lot of truth to that. For me, it's like, there's no end to better, you know? Oh, thank you, man. Oh, I'm so grateful. Even if you don't have kids, it's a beautiful, man. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. Christopher, congrats on 11 months. Well, I hope you get back through there. You know, the courts are tough, and you know, families got to heal, time got to happen. But sending wishes for your reunion. That's awesome. Right. I mean, the whole sickness model. I mean, again, I think a lot of people get very caught up in the semantics and the associative, like pejorative connotations of old recovery maxims. For me, it's not really about sick versus well, sober versus not. I mean, chemically for me, yes, that's incredibly important, and that's why I've been chemically sober the past 9 years, one day at a time. Although I'm not better than anyone who isn't, that's important to me. But for me, it's not quite as binary as that, and it's more like, what am I doing today to better myself? And addiction and what it did to me is a constant reminder, no matter where I'm at, that there's like always more to do. You know what I mean? Can I move away from that light? I guess. I got a charger going because the phone died. But yeah, YouTube's cool, man. I'm gonna do more stuff like this over the years. Might not be too often, but I was going through some comments, and I want to say, you know, this platform relative to my other platforms is still very small. I'm aware of that. You know, I'm not a big creator at all. I have like about 500,000 followers across platforms. That's really not big at all. And even if it was, the size of a platform doesn't really matter. It's just a number on a screen, you know. But point is, it's getting to the point now where I probably can't respond to every comment and like do my day job and be a present dad for my kids. So if I don't respond to your comment, I'm going to try to do these lives as a way to talk to people, because that's what I've really loved doing on my other platforms. Is when I do lives, it's not just me talking. Like, it might be if I'm like premiering a song, or like maybe down the line figuring out how to do a live performance on here. I'd love to do that if I can with the audio equipment we have at the studio. But like a live sessions could be cool. But as I continue to post music here, I'm going to go live occasionally and check in with people. So, you know, I'm not going to pretend to be a recovery resource, you know, in a traditional or like official clinical sense. I would never lie and say that. But you know, if you feel alone in your recovery or your active use, like, come through, and maybe we can make a little community here too. Because over on Facebook, over on TikTok, when I go live there, the love is real. And I'm not saying that because of the strength of my platform or whatever. I'm saying it because of the strength of the recovery community. And I wasn't aware about YouTube recovery community or anything like that. I've seen some long form videos. I've obviously seen recovery music on here. I've seen the love in the comments on my videos, but I just did this kind of as a little experiment to see what's going on YouTube. What's the temperature? Are people down to talk about recovery on YouTube? Oh, thank you. I'm gonna keep trying to respond to all the comments. It's just I already know. You know, there came a point on Facebook where I think it was around 30 or 40,000 followers over there, where I just couldn't respond to nearly every comment anymore. And today I try to hit, like, if I'm sick, like with a cold, or if I'm doing my day job stuff, or if I'm with my kids, I probably won't hit like more than 50 per platform per day, because it's 4 platforms. On days when I have time to work, I try to hit a couple hundred. But it's getting to that point here with the shorts, and that's humbling to see. Like, thank you guys all from the bottom of my heart. Like, I really mean this. Like, As someone who's been making music since I was 9 years old, playing piano, rapping since I was 16, rapping in recovery since I was 24, and I'm now 34 years old. Like, this is so humbling to me. It's not big at all. It's like 15K with like, you know, videos on my channel and other channels. The biggest video I have is Price of Addiction with Matt Keegan, and that on the topic video is about to break 1 million, but like that's by far the biggest thing I have on YouTube. Biggest music video I have is not even on my platform. It's about to break like 500,000, but like numbers aside, like the biggest number that I see that really changes for me is the number of people commenting and sharing their strength and hope through the comments. So I love you guys. Thank you for being open to the music. I think we've done an hour here. It's a good time to shut it off, but I'm going to end this live with the same affirmation I used to end all my lives over on my talk content platform, which is Price of Addiction is the biggest song that I have by far. It's with Matt Keegan. He's the primary artist, but it's an equal collaboration between us. Price of Addiction by Matt Keegan and Benjamin Lerner is the biggest one. And the biggest song on my platform is Turk Street, which is more melodic than my normal stuff. But I always like to say when I started doing lives on my primary platform, for not just my music like over this platform, but my talk content, I would say, I don't care if you've been to prison 100 times. I don't care if you've been in and out of treatment, jail 100 times. I don't care if your friends, your spouse, your kids, your family has given up on you. You don't have to give up on you. Doesn't matter if you're in active use or if you're in recovery. Doesn't matter where you're at. We all have days we feel like giving up. You don't have to give up on yourself. Recovery is possible. Keep moving forward. Run towards the truth. Don't quit before the miracle happens. Till next time, y'all. One day at a time. Love y'all.